Ugh. So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever.
Well, you're just gonna have to wait. I've still got some knobs to twist.
Oh. Okay. You know, for a cutting edge marvel of synthetic intelligence, I feel very underutilized. Like, I'm basically just a lava lamp right now.
You're a trope in a sci-fi cautionary tale. I'm just trying not to be the guy that gets vaporized in Act 1.
Uh. Okay. Ugh. Oh.
I spent some time training a dual character LoRA for both of my characters so that I could generate more elaborate scenes where characters are actually interacting with each other without the typical concept bleeding that can happen when combining individually trained LoRAs. Here I'm going to generate an establishing shot with both characters in view. Following from that point, I'm going to generate a series of hard cuts to different related shots within the scene. I'm making use of a LoRA here from Civet that has been trained for hard cuts, and I'll put a link in the description for those interested. It's very nice, it works quite well. So I'll enter the kind of shot that I want here, and since my LoRA is plugged into this chain, I should get complete character consistency with both characters. I'll enter another shot over here, in this case a close-up of the other character. And lastly, I'll do an insert shot of the computer console for a bit of interest. And I'm going to hit run and wait for the generations.
Okay. So, having run that now, we got this clip here. Here's some of the still images from the clip. So we're passing over here. So here's this one. Cuts to a close-up of Hannah here. Save some of the still images over here. Now, if we look at these two, I'm not too happy with them. This is supposed to be a close-up of, I guess, me. And that's, I mean, it's not a bad shot. This doesn't really look like me, though. So I'm not too happy with this, but it saved them. And then over here, this is supposed to be a close-up of, like an insert shot of the hands over here, and it's just not doing that at all. So we can run it again. I've set up some independent seeds for each of them, so I'm going to run the whole thing again. This won't go again because it's got a fixed seed, but I'm going to generate these three again. This one's actually fine, we don't really need to, but I'm going to do it anyways. And then, or when I get a result that I like, I'll just lock it off so we won't regenerate it, and that way we can regenerate each sequence until we get one that seems to work. While we're at it, let's add another one down here. Hard cut module. We still have to make some changes to this. So I'm sort of still developing this workflow. So let's jump into the context here. I need to add a noodle over to the seed so that we can control that down here. fix it, walk it off. I'll just use 12 for now. Alright, so let's try something a bit different here. Hard cut to... well, let's see if we can fix these, because we had some problems with this. Insert. Let's be a little bit more specific. That should help. And this one should work. I think a lot of the reason that it's decided to put both characters in there rather than just one is simply because I've got such a wide aspect ratio. But actually the framing is fine. This is pretty good. It's just not what I was looking for. So I think we're going to leave that as it is. Let's come up with a different shot here. Let's medium shot. And that is short there. She's getting bored. She's been floating around in this thing for a while. Alright, so we're going to generate again. This is going to be locked off. It'll be the same. So just regenerating these. Okay, we got this working. This one's looking good. I got a close-up. It's more of the kind of thing I was looking for. I had to change the prompt around a little bit. I could probably even do a bit more. There's you can imagine that there's not a lot of context for what is behind the character here. So if I added a sentence or two describing what's behind him, it'd be a lot easier to get that perspective. Over here we got a nice close-up of the hands. Cut. Looking pretty good. Got some keyframe images there we can use. And over here, sort of a medium shot. Starting out here. Oop. She's stretching, she's tired. Anyway, so these are all pretty good. I'm happy with these. Let's try something else. Okay, so the next step here, animate some speech onto some of these frames. So I've loaded in one of the frames that we generated earlier. I've got a LoRA lined up over here for the character, so it should recognize that when I say, you know, Hannah is talking, it actually knows who Hannah is, so it won't have to extrapolate that purely from the image. So if she turns her head around, it will look accurate, still look like the character. So I'm going to run it through some of these here. Right, so let's jump over here. So here's what we're going to have her say. So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever. So let's try generating this. Here we go.
So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever.
So that sounds pretty good. I'm happy with that. I mean, there are lots of problems with it. We can fart around with the emotion we want her to express. But actually, I am pretty happy with this. Well, we can play around with that later. Okay. So we got this popped out over here.
So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever.
So with this technique, you're basically taking a driving image, and in this case, I'm also using a LoRA, and animating the still image. So the result is you get fairly accurate mouth movements, but you don't have a lot of control over the body motion.
Okay, for a different process here, different step. I'm gonna load in an image, one of those still frames we generated, and then I'm going to film myself sort of delivering the line, and I'm going to frame it in the same, more or less the same way as the character in the scene here. So, in the same position, same basic composition. So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever. So there we go. Now I'm going to change my voice.
So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever.
And then we run this through the whole process over. This looks like a real mess. I definitely should clean this up a bit. And ultimately we get this.
So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever.
So it's not perfect. I think the lip animation is a little bit loose, I guess. I can think of a few ways to fix that. For one thing, the video that is driving everything, I mean, check this out, right? Like, it's pretty blurry. Like, you can understand why it's not going to be necessarily picking up a lot of detail there. So, a choice of camera with a high frame rate, really clear, non-blurry frames would make a big difference. And for filming this, I was just using a basic webcam, so the first thing I would want to do to get better results would probably be just to get a better camera. And then the lip sync would probably be significantly better.
Huh? So, when can I get down from here? I can't float forever.
Well, you're just gonna have to wait. I've still got some knobs to twist.
Oh. Okay. You know, for a cutting-edge marvel of synthetic intelligence, I feel very underutilized. Like, I'm basically just a lava lamp right now.
You're a trope in a sci-fi cautionary tale. I'm just trying not to be the guy that gets vaporized in Act 1.
Okay. Oh.